Our next story is from Syria. It's been about a week since Syria was set free, since Bashar Al-Assad was ousted. For most Syrians, it has been a week of celebration. After decades, they're free to express themselves and do things that they could never do before, like making fun of the Assad family. You see, Bashar al-Assad's reign was brutal. He exercised a form of thought control. People weren't allowed to criticize him. They would be persecuted. But since Assad's fall, the people of Syria have begun to laugh at him, especially after they discovered some family photos. A lot of them are quite candid, showing Assad with his family and friends. He's seen in bathing suits or riding a scooter in his underwear. There's also one of his father, Hafiz al-Assad, the first dictator. Assad Sr. is also seen in his small clothes, posing as a bodybuilder. Now, photos like these may not seem unusual for an ordinary family. But this is the Assads that we're talking about, the most feared family in Syria. They had crafted a sophisticated public persona. And that image is at odds with the family pictures that have come out, the ones that you see on your screen. They're helping Syrians realize something, that their dictator was also human, as mortal as the rest of them. And these people are breaking into his presidential properties and discovering how the Assad family looted them. Take their holiday home, for instance, in the coastal city of Latakia. This is how people reacted when they went in.
I can't believe my eyes. They built something we didn't see in all my life, our life in Syria. You know, did you see the streets in Syria? All are bad.
I've come to release the oppression I feel inside. God revealed to us where they were and where we stood. We had only heard about it, but we didn't know about all this opulence and wealth, while we didn't even have electricity at home.
That sums up the situation. Assad living in luxury, ordinary Syrians living without electricity. Over the decades, the Assad family made a fortune. A big chunk of it came from their drug trade. Now, more and more drug labs are being found. They're located inside legitimate-looking businesses. They were operated by Assad's extended family.
We were shocked. We didn't expect that. The facade is a car showroom, and when we got inside, we found a Captagon lab, hashish, counterfeit money. As you see, there are documents everywhere and a lot of money.
It's like a criminal syndicate was running the entire country. They had their fingers in everything, both legal and illegal. Assad's cousins controlled mobile phone networks. They owned real estate companies, multinational ones. One of Assad's cousins opened a real estate firm in Russia, and the family bought at least 20 luxury apartments in Moscow. It's hard to verify the full extent of the Assad family's wealth, but reports say it could be as high as $120 billion. $120 billion. This includes 200 tons of gold, billions of euros, high-end luxury cars, and of course, his opulent palaces. He had all of this, while most Syrians lived without basic amenities. When his defeat was near, Assad packed up and left, taking much of that ill-gotten wealth with him. Of course, he denies it. Bashar al-Assad issued a statement today, his first since he fled Syria. Assad said that his departure was not planned, that it happened suddenly. He was at the Russian military base in Latakia. They were getting overwhelmed by the rebel forces, so Russia asked him to flee. He says it wasn't a planned escape. In fact, let me quote from the statement. This is Bashar al-Assad saying, "I have never sought positions for personal gain, but have always considered myself as a custodian of a national project, supported by the faith of the Syrian people who believed in its vision." No personal gain, he says. What about the 20 apartments in Moscow? What about his palaces and holiday homes and the 200 tons of gold? Was that just a happy byproduct of the national project? In fact, Syria's wealth was siphoned off, and that is the fact. The wealth was siphoned off, and it ended up in Assad's pockets, or with his allies like Russia. Moscow played a key role in propping up the regime. Russia sent fighter jets to support Assad. They kept the Syrian rebels at bay for years. But that wasn't all. Russia also helped Assad in avoiding Western sanctions. Remember, Syria was frozen out of global trade, so Assad used Moscow to bypass the sanctions as long as he could. Reports say he airlifted $250 million to Russia. $250 million. This was between 2018 and 2019. Assad sent piles of cash, $100 bills and €500 notes. This was to bypass Western banking networks. The cash was to pay for defense support and essentials like wheat. Well, that's the official story anyway. But the people in charge of these transfers were also close to Assad, members of his family or inner circle, so they may have used the cash transfers as a cover, a way to transfer wealth out of Syria. Another way to loot the country. Syria is free today, but it will take years to rebuild it, years and billions of dollars, and recovering the billions that Assad looted will be a good place to start.